On Sunrise and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, an update on the A&M Victoria transition and some news about a potential university president. And the latest from Gaza City as Israel's ground offensive continues. Plus, what both parties are putting in their spending plans as the race to fund the government unfolds.
And for this weekend, we're looking at plenty more sunshine, some more kind of summer-esque heat, and some spotty afternoon rain chances before next week. Those chances rise, and we got a cool front. All that in the weather coming up.
And Texas and Victoria men's and women's soccer battle Houston Tillotson in non-conference play yesterday. I'll give you all the highlights for both games and some stats later on in sport.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning, Crossroads, and welcome to your Friday morning as we inch closer and closer to summer's end.
Summer's end, that's right. Astronomical fall, or the autumnal equinox, if you'd like to call it that. It's next Monday.
It is, and it's going to meet us possibly with some precipitation.
With some rain and maybe even, maybe a fall cool front. We're going to look at all that later, I promise, because before any of that fun action gets here, we actually have some fun action happening this morning. We're talking about the temperatures. It's another lovely morning, 70 degrees flat in Victoria. Dew point still a degree off at that high 69, bringing us that 97% humidity. So just apply some hairspray to combat the humidity. Otherwise, it is enough to see fog, but none of that this morning, so don't worry about it because we still have mixing in the atmosphere. And also with the mixing and also clear skies, we're looking all very nice this morning. About 70 degrees is pretty much the consensus around the crossroads, but the rest of Texas is pretty much following suit. We got some 70s and 60s, even nearly upper 50s in the Panhandle because they just had a cool front. You can actually see it right here on satellite, right there. Boom. They just had a cool front. That's not coming our way. What is coming our way is that one right there. We're going to be looking at all that later, I promise, because if you're sending your kiddos at the door this morning before any of that stuff gets here, it's going to be sunny and a tad hot. We'll look at those details next.
The Texas A&M University Victoria is transitioning smoothly into its new system. Interim campus president Dr. Jim Nelson expressed that the transition will allow for new degree plans for the upcoming year. Nelson says the transition will be an opportunity for students new and old to explore different subjects.
I think the big motto is better together, and it goes back to us in the community working with a single goal. We're bringing new things in. New people are going to start coming on board. There will be new opportunities that begin to appear.
Nelson says other classes like agribusiness and aviation are expected to be available in the fall of 2026. The faculty say this transition is just the beginning, with more programs and flexible options expected to come online in the coming years. Texas A&M University System Regents Thursday named a sole finalist for president of the Texas A&M University Victoria campus. Christian Hardegree currently serves as a regional chancellor of the University of South Florida St. Petersburg campus, where she is a member of an executive team overseeing academic programs, operations, and a $130 million campus and capital improvement portfolio. State law requires the board to wait 21 days after naming a finalist for president before making the appointment official. Seadrift's Public Works Director has stepped down. That's according to our partners at the Port Lavaca Wave. Gino Abshire resigned Thursday, just hours before a public hearing and a special city council meeting. Councilmember Tracy Johnson confirmed the news, saying Abshire left the job for personal family reasons. Abshire had only held the role since March, when he was appointed by the council. Thursday, people from all over the world officially became U.S. citizens. 25 News Now reporter Ray Mosley has the story of a local woman celebrating the big milestone.
People from all walks of life are here at the United States Courthouse in Corpus Christi to become a U.S. citizen. The courthouse turned into a place of celebration as people became American citizens. One of them was local resident Judy John, who says the journey wasn't easy, but it was one she'll never forget.
There's always a fear of deportation. So if you become a U.S. citizen and you pass all of these exams, you have to go through the civic and the English test, and then if you pass, and then becoming a citizen is wonderful.
Originally from the Philippines, Johns came to the U.S. more than 10 years ago on a fiancé visa. Today, she proudly calls herself an American citizen.
I'm very, very grateful because it's like living a dream of becoming a U.S. citizen. So yeah, I'm very, very happy and I'm glad.
She admits the process can feel long and overwhelming, but says it's worth it because it can change her family's future. John says living in the U.S. is beautiful and says it is truly the highlight of her life. Reporting in Corpus Christi, Ray Mosley, KAVU TV, 25 News Now.
Tens of thousands of Palestinians are fleeing Gaza City as the Israeli military intensifies its ground offensive in the area. As of Wednesday, nearly 400,000 people had evacuated Gaza City. The Israeli Defense Forces say they are expanding their activities in Gaza City and continuing operations elsewhere in the Gaza Strip. Before the expanded offensive, the military ordered people in Gaza City to go to what it described as a humanitarian zone in the south. Both chambers of Congress are expected to take up funding bills today. They're aimed at avoiding a government shutdown. That's on September 30th. Plans from both parties boost lawmaker security. Republicans say theirs is otherwise clean and has 7 weeks of funding. The Democrats' bill undoes Medicaid cuts and enshrines Obamacare subsidies. It reverses some DOGE reductions and runs through October. The Senate is set to vote on bills from both parties today, but neither seems able to pass. And that leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code right there on your screen to take part. Today we want to know, what do you think is the main obstacle to passing the funding bills? 97% of you say party disagreements, and 3% of you say Medicaid and Obamacare provisions. Thank you for taking part in our viewer poll. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote if you still want to take part. And we have a programming note regarding Jimmy Kimmel Live and this station. Here's a statement from KAVU. On Wednesday, ABC and its parent company Disney made the decision to suspend Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely across the country and on this station. KAVU is an ABC affiliate, but our station had no input on this decision to remove the show. Currently, ABC provides network programming and controls which shows get delivered to our station. KAVU will continue to be focused on serving our local viewers with quality local news and community service programming. Our commitment to that is unwavering. Remember, follow us on YouTube, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. The time now, let's get a look at our clock up here. It's 6:38 on our Friday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up next on 25 News Now Sunrise. Discover how this Cuero native found purpose in service and is already making headlines.
A controversial CDC vote could affect millions of children across the country. I'm Nicole D'Antonio in Washington with the details and the pushback this morning.
And also coming up next after the break in the short-term forecast, you heard me say it's going to be another kind of hot day today. So coming up next, I'll tell you just how warm I think it'll be near you, and we'll look at your football forecast.
Here's a look at what you could expect on Community Crossroads. We hear from Gulf Bend, the Saragossa Society, the Victoria Public Library, and Victoria College.
And coming up, the next step is to give scholarships for our students that are going in. So this new course is going to be $2,800. That scholarship can cover up to $2,500 of that tuition.
Well, good morning, Crossroads, and happy Friday. It's football time and it's weekend time. Y'all get excited because, well, weather's looking pretty nice to us this weekend. Well, we'll still be a little hot, but we've got rain and a front in the forecast for next week. We'll look at that here in a second, I promise, because before we have any of that fun stuff, we got to deal with some more sunshine and some heat, like I just said. Looking at your future tracker, you're going to see a lot of that. Lots of sunshine out there, and I mean a lot of it. Here's noontime. You just saw 9 a.m. Not really too many clouds out there in the sky. Here's 3 p.m. in the afternoon time. Still looking pretty sunny out there. Maybe just a couple passing clouds trying to form out there off of the daytime heating. And the same thing with maybe 1 or 2 showers today, with chances today at only 10%. Now going into football time, 7 p.m. You can see it's still pretty clear out there, and we'll stay just like that for all the way this evening and overnight tonight. Looking pretty clear to let us drop our lows back into the 70s and upper 60s. And then tomorrow we're still mostly sunny, but we'll have a 20%, 20 spotty rain chance for the afternoon. But before any of that happens, we got a sunny day today, heating us up to about 94 in Victoria. Low temperatures tonight underneath the clear skies, low 70s and upper 60s. But that's going to be about 4 degrees above where we're supposed to be for highs, and everybody else is looking about the same. Low mid 90s, maybe upper 90s in our western counties, so you'll stay safe in the heat. But it is Football Friday, and the game of the week, it's a big one. Tidehaven versus Ganado. Y'all have fun. It's looking not too bad out there, pretty clear in upper 80s. With some high pollen in the background. So take an allergy pill if you're going out to the game and keep doing it. With more on the forecast, we'll look at that and the rain next.
Texas and Victoria women's and men's soccer teams face Houston Tillotson for non-conference games at the Cage yesterday. And the first with the women's team, they took care of business winning 6-0, and the Jaguars will get 4 goals combined from Melanie Garcia and Sereni Batia, who actually had 2 goals apiece with they're going through the rest of the way. Now for the men's team, they also got a victory 1-0 yesterday with substitute Chris Mendez coming in off the bench and getting the lone goal there for the men's squad. And the women's team will be off now and playing until they place LSU Shreveport next week to start up conference play, while the men's team will finish up non-conference play Saturday versus St. Thomas, Texas. That game will start at 3:30 p.m. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
This morning, a Centers for Disease Control panel will decide whether to change vaccine guidelines that have been long recommended for children. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with details.
This morning, a critical vote is set to be taken on whether to keep recommending the hepatitis B vaccine for all newborns.
Let's just pause for a second. We have the ability to prevent children from getting cancer if we give every child a hepatitis B birth dose.
For decades, giving the shot at birth has been standard and is credited with virtually eliminating hepatitis B among babies in the U.S. But today, the Centers for Disease Control's Vaccine Advisory Committee will decide whether to end that universal birth dose, recommending it only for babies of mothers who test positive, letting other babies wait at least a month. Critics warn that could miss infants when testing isn't done or when results are wrong.
That's why the safety net of the birth dose is so important.
The committee also plans to vote on the COVID-19 vaccine recommendation today. It comes after the panel decided Thursday to limit the availability of the widely used combination vaccine that fights the measles, mumps, rubella, and the virus that causes chickenpox, meaning children could need to get those shots separately during multiple doctor's visits. The American Academy of Pediatrics blasting the recommendations from the new CDC advisory panel.
I say you should disregard anything that comes from this committee. They don't seem to care about the actual science. They seem to care about promoting false claims and myths and rumors and junk science.
The changes come from the new advisors picked by Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, a longtime anti-vaccine activist who fired all the members of the previous committee and filled the panel with several members who share his own views on vaccinations. Now 7 northeastern U.S. states, including New York, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey, have banded together to form a new public health coalition that will make its own vaccine recommendations. There's a similar effort happening on the West Coast. California, Oregon, Washington, and Hawaii creating the West Coast Health Alliance, and this week rolled out their own vaccine recommendations for families. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
A Cuero native is making waves in the U.S. Navy. Airman Emily Jones, a 2023 Cuero High grad, serves as an aviation structural mechanic with Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron 74. She says lessons from high school band like leadership help her succeed today. Jones joined the Navy last year looking for something more fulfilling, and she's already been nominated for Blue Jacket of the Quarter, an award for top junior sailors. She says serving gives her a meaningful way to give back and credits her family for inspiring her path. You know the fall is officially here when you start seeing pumpkins. First United Methodist Church in Victoria hosted a pumpkin baking day with children from the community to celebrate the 33rd year of its annual pumpkin patch. Committee members say the patch has become a cornerstone for families during the holidays. offering a place to gather and give back. Children spent the day cooking, picking pumpkins, and having fun. They even baked pumpkin bread from fresh pumpkins.
It is a cornerstone event for our community here in Victoria, Texas. Everybody loves to come to the pumpkin patch to find the biggest pumpkin they can find every year. And we, as volunteers for this church and this ministry, love to see the faces coming back year after year and the smiles coming back year after year as well.
The loaves are sold with all proceeds going right back into community programs. The time is now 6:47 on our Friday morning. Still to come on Sunrise, a community rallies to save a piece of history that has stood for nearly 150 years. Happy birthday to Robert. Happy birthday, Pops. Thanks for everything. I love you. From Tony.
Happy birthday, Robert. And also happy birthday to Pablo and Jeremiah. Happy birthday to Grandpa and Jeremiah. We love you both so much, from the Santillan families and the Juarez family.
And Jeremy Irons is celebrating a birthday today. The Oscar winner for Reversal of Fortune and the voice of Scar in The Lion King turns 77.
Ooh, happy birthday, Jeremy. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, you can come to crossroadstoday.com. Just click the drop-down menu, then click the Home tab, and then you'll see Submit Your Birthday Photo.
All right, the time is now 6:48 on our Friday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today, or maybe you're going to celebrate this weekend.
That's right, or over the weekend. Happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. I'm sure a lot of y'all saw this 7-day forecast just a few moments ago when you saw that the heat is still looking like it's summertime for the next few days. But as we go into next week, the first day of astronomical fall is Monday. Meteorological fall was September 1st. Well, it looks like we're starting to slowly slip into that fall pattern with rain in the forecast. All of that because of a cool front. And I think that front next week, whenever it gets here, I think it should drop our highs down into the 80s, lows even in the 60s. So I think it will finally start looking a little bit more like fall. But what's crazy is all of that action next week is going to be coming from the tropics, not the Atlantic, to which we still have 2 tropical waves out there that we are going to be tracking here on the Gulf Coast for the next 2 to 3 weeks, because computers continue taking those westward into the Caribbean. So we'll watch those for the next few weeks. Otherwise, we're still watching 2 areas in the Pacific. We're not really watching those because they're not going to be a concern to us. But what is going to be the opposite of a concern to us, a welcoming, I'm trying to say, it's this. You see right here, you can kind of see it right there. You see right there that little line of clouds that just formed for a few seconds? That is the cold front that will be coming our way for next week. And it's going to be off of a couple low pressure systems in the upper atmosphere. You can see one of them right here. This is the main one. It's an upper level low coming out of the North Pacific, but that low is going to be meeting up with the remnants from Tropical Storm Mario. And that's going to form its own separate low pressure system and stall in the middle of the America. And that's going to bring us our front and rain. We're going to look at all of that and more later on Sunrise.
A coastal Crossroads community is preparing to celebrate history as one project to restore a mansion built over a century ago continues. Bill Clough shares more.
It was a Cat 4. John Metz, chief meteorologist at the U.S. Weather Bureau station in Corpus Christi, remembers it well.
The winds initially came from the northeast, but as the storm passed, they shifted to the west, with damaging gusts continuing for nearly 4 hours.
Long enough to turn the pride of the town, the John Wood Mansion, built in 1875, into a parallelogram. Tim Delaney is the chairman of the Bayside Historical Society.
Several people figured it was done for and said just tear it down.
Not so fast. The society got a grant, along with private donations, to straighten it. And now there's a new owner, San Antonio contractor and businessman John Breeden. He has plans.
With the help of the Bayside Historic Society, procured a grant after we purchased it. I know from my experience in remodel and restoration work that I could turn this thing into something beautiful.
In addition to renting rooms upstairs, he plans a museum dedicated to the mansion's original owner, Texas patriot John Wood, and a venue for marriages, parties, cooking classes, and community and corporate meetings. Restoration is expensive. Breeden is still about $300,000 short.
We're landing about the $1 million range on the restoration.
Tomorrow afternoon, the Society is sponsoring a fundraiser. County and city officials will start the festivities, followed by a silent auction, a 50-50 raffle, a barbecue, a magic show, and concerts by 2 bands.
It's also the 150th anniversary of the building, and we want to honor that.
The anniversary is a really important date for Bayside. I think it's the oldest building in Refugio County.
The community is invited to celebrate 150 years Saturday for the fundraiser helping to restore the John Wood Mansion. It starts at 2 p.m. at the Wood Mansion. Still to come on Sunrise, news to know before you go. Billions in resale tickets under scrutiny. Those details coming up. The Federal Trade Commission is suing Ticketmaster and Live Nation. The lawsuit was filed in federal court in California with 7 other states joining in. It claims the companies engaged in illegal ticket resale tactics. The Consumer Protection Agency said the company made $3.7 billion in resold tickets between 2019 and 2024. Hyundai is recalling more than 500,000 SUVs over a serious seatbelt issue. The recall affects Hyundai Palisade vehicles from model years 2020 through 2025. Hyundai says seatbelt buckles in the driver, passenger, and second row window seats may fail to latch. Until repairs are made, Hyundai advises you to firmly insert seatbelts and tug on them to make sure they're secure. The jury summoned for 8:30 a.m. Monday at the Victoria County Courthouse has been canceled. It will not be rescheduled. A traffic alert for drivers in Jackson County. If you're headed north on U.S. Highway 59, the outside lane at the Lavaca River Bridge is closed for repairs. It's going to stay closed until further notice. Expect slowdowns if you're traveling through, and if you can, go ahead and plan an alternate route to save yourself some time. And if you want to experience our digital streaming service with your connected TV, you can. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus on your Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Apple TV, or Android TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And now let's get a final look at our forecast with Parker and a darkening sunrise.
Yes, a darkening sunrise because we're starting to slowly lose daylight as we approach fall. But look at our sunrise this morning, y'all. Look at all the beautiful colors out there and the perfect cloud cover setting us up with all that loveliness. So if you're all headed out the door, I recommend it. Go out there and take a picture, and also send us your pictures. Send it to staff@crossroadstoday.com. We love your viewer photos. All of them. 70 degrees is what we're starting at right now, so not too bad of a morning, but we will heat up. Looking for a high of 93 in Port Lavaca underneath the beaming Texas sun. Same thing in Victoria, 94 today, maybe a bit warmer. And the same in Cuero, 95 I'm thinking, maybe even 96. So y'all stay safe in the heat. It will be just a tad hot for the next few days with rain chances slowly increasing for the rest of next week, also with the cool front.
All right, thank you, Parker, and thank y'all for being with us this morning. Be sure to join Shauna, Dawn, Maclovio, and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10, and for CFL. Make it a great Friday.